Folks, as all of you are aware, one of the biggest political events of the last year, if not the past decade, was the brutal assassination of Charlie Kirk on September 10th at Utah Valley University during a public speaking engagement. And I mentioned in my initial coverage that that hit close to home for a variety of reasons, because even though I disagreed with basically everything that Charlie Kirk stood for, as a content creator and as somebody who is in political commentary, I recognize that this put all of us in danger. But the other thing that I mentioned at the time, and many of you commented about who followed the event, the tragedy from start to finish, noted that a good friend of mine was in attendance when Kirk was assassinated. He was actually the last person that Charlie Kirk ever spoke to, ever debated. And that's my friend, Staxioms, Hunter Kozak, who is actually joining me here. We were going to try to do this a couple of weeks ago, but he has a lot going on. I'm sure he's going to let us know how he has been since the event itself. Here he is on screen. Hunter, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing great. Yeah. For your audience who doesn't know, me and Josiah go way back. We used to do TikTok debates back when he was a TikTok debater. That was like his first thing before he did YouTube. And I used to joke around that I had way more followers than him, and
You
now
do.
he's wildly overshot me.
Not on TikTok though, and that's really what counts, right? I mean, like that's
Oh
the
yeah,
thing.
exactly.
Sure, I have a few on YouTube, but you still blow me way out of the water on TikTok. So I mean, that's you have the advantage. I mean, like this
Yeah,
is the thing.
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, he always Lil Bro'd me. I think you Gen Zers would say that. Like he just Lil Bro'd me all the time. He was like, "Oh, what's it like having less than 35,000 TikTok followers? Where are you at now? Because I'm not on TikTok, as you know.
I don't know. 60 or I don't know.
You have 60 followers.
Yeah, 60 followers. I have
Six.
60. How many do you have? A few
I
million
no no
now?
I really don't. So like I haven't been on TikTok. Like when I cut TikTok out to do YouTube full time, I didn't just mean as a content creator. I mean as a viewer as well. Like
Mhm,
it's still on my phone, but like I
mhm.
can't tell you the last time I actually pulled up the app. So
Yeah. Well, if you want to look up videos on linguistics or language or philosophy or politics or math, those are sort of the things that I talk about on TikTok. So you should follow me there, I guess.
I thought you were doing politics and not like cures for insomnia. Like wait, what's this? Like
Cures for
insomnia?
insomnia.
Yeah.
Well, I'm getting a dual degree at UVU right now. I'm basically done with my philosophy degree, which is analytic philosophy. So it's a lot of conversations of logic and like philosophy of language and things like that. And I'm also getting my math degree. So I mean, a lot
You're a
of my
real hit with the
videos are.
ladies then, huh?
I would say that I'm going to be making a bunch of money, but I'm going into like teaching math in high school, so like probably not.
You,
Um
I'm
but yeah,
curious,
no, I
like
usually put a political spin on it. Like I
on
usually be
math?
like,
You're politicizing
yes,
math?
yes.
Holy shit. The
So,
communists and the socialists, here they are with their socialist math. They're changing the math. How do you politicize math?
well, the question that I was going to ask Charlie was about the question I was going to ask Charlie about was basically he was saying that trans people are overrepresented in terms of mass shootings. And my point is that they clearly are not. And I did a little bit of a statistical analysis. I made a
Well
video
then,
about it.
let's do this. Let's do this like the logical and sequential way. And see, and folks,
Hmm.
again, for those of you who are not familiar, because this again goes way back, this is how it is between Hunter and I all the time, where we constantly just like talk shit and roast each other and interrupt each other and all that stuff. So we're gonna try to keep it cogent and
Professional.
treat it with the solemnity it deserves. So let's start with this.
Yeah.
September's 10th. Okay. I didn't know you were going to be at UVU. I knew that you were part of the Unfuck America tour, which was following
Hmm.
Charlie Kirk. So again, knowing that we're not going to be talking about this for 3 hours, do you want to briefly recap what you were doing at UVU that day, other than being a
Yeah.
student?
Well, yeah, I am a student at UVU, but I also believe a lot in debate and conversations. And specifically, the DOJ recently just came out with a piece of it. I forget exactly what they put out, but it was essentially saying that they wanted to start stripping gun rights away from trans Americans because they were they were overrepresented in terms of mass shootings. So I asked Charlie about that.
So as part of, but you were part of the Unfuck America tour, right? Like you
Mhm.
guys, is this the first time that you had engaged with Charlie?
Not directly. I went to one of his events in Tampa. In Tampa, we he had a big SAS event. It was the Student Action Summit. There was a ton of people there, ton of different content creators. Tucker Carlson, um, Russell Brand.
The comedian.
Yeah, but
Comedian.
he's
Not
yeah,
that
I know
funny these
exactly.
days. Yeah.
Exactly, just a bunch of big conservative names, and I went there and I basically just I did a little bit of a I put on a Trump hat and I asked a bunch of the followers
You
questions
brought it from
about.
home?
Yeah, I picked it up from the event. They were just they just had a ton of them, but yeah, now it's at home, so now I just bring it around everywhere.
Yeah. Do
Got
you
to
have
let
a
people
shrine?
know.
Well, I mean, again, I gotta say this. This is something I've roasted Hunter about for years. When Hunter and I first met and we became friends, he revealed to me, and I
Oh my
busted his
god!
balls about it ever since, that he was a Jill Stein voter in 2016. So he has
And
contributed.
something I want to clarify every time. I regret that action. And also, I was not in a swing state. I was in Utah. I voted in Utah. So like get over it a little bit. Like not not that it's the
No,
best
no,
thing
not
ever,
get
but
over. What are you
like
talking about? I mean, like, I just there's so many things to indict your character for, and that's like number 2 on the list. I mean,
I
you're
regret voting for Hillary Clinton. I would vote for Hillary Clinton today if I could.
a little too late now, buddy, but thank you.
I
Appreciate it. Yeah, no,
understand.
it's fine.
And I
It's,
voted for
yeah,
Kamala. You know,
that's good. You're on the
I
path to
voted down.
redemption. You're on the path to redemption. Okay, but get back to it. So
Okay.
So you, as part of the Unfuck America tour, which is this group that basically would engage and try to debate Kirk and Kirk supporters throughout his
Mhm.
various tours, this was your first chance to actually speak to the man himself.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say.
Bas-
So go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, at the beginning of the event, a lot of his rhetoric is, "Hey, I think he said this verbatim, bring the best libs that Utah has to offer." And I think that very often it was just a bunch of college students who were doing like, you know, who took a poli sci class one time and wanted to go talk to Charlie about it, and he made them look like idiots, mostly because they were a little bit of idiots, and I wanted to challenge him on it. I think that he cared about debate, and I care about debate, and that's one of the very, very, very few things that we have in common.
So when he was asking for the best libs that Utah has to offer, were they like running short that day? How did you get drafted? How did you get brought up to the microphone?
I was pretty far back in line. I was like 10th or 15th in line. Like some people had been camping out since like I want to say like 7 in the morning or something like that. But they were asking down the line, like, what questions do you want to ask Charlie? And they're like, how does it feel to be the coolest conservative of all time? And then like, you know, it's like, oh, what do you want? Kobe or LeBron? Like, who do you think is better? And then they got to me and I'm like,
Who
I
is
want to
better?
talk about I don't know if I care
You
or
don't.
no.
You just not, you don't have room right
I
now for
don't know.
basketball anyway. Even though
I've never had
you are
room.
freakishly tall and you could play basketball. Did you play
Everyone
basketball?
says that. I'm 6'3", but I just like I don't know how to dribble or anything else. So it's, you know, that's one of the big prerequisites of playing basketball. I think it's not just be
Dribbling.
tall.
My understanding is this: dribbling is like an essential core like talent.
I
Like,
think so. I think so.
It's a core
Don't
discipline.
quote me on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Okay.
don't know much about basketball, but I
So
do
then
think
you told them you had the question about fan
yeah, I
shootings.
started. Yeah, and I also was expecting Charlie to ask, you know, what is a woman? Because he always pivots conversations about transgender issues to that question, which I feel like I had a good answer to and I had a good response to, and I wanted to challenge him on his bullishness, I guess I want to say.
That reminds me, and again, is it kind of a sidebar but relevant to your content? Because Hunter is on TikTok still, right? You're still putting out TikTok stuff. I've tried to get you on YouTube for years. You've dug your heels in. You have a really good video essay on your channel called "Is a hot dog a sandwich?" or "Hot dog is a sandwich?" Right? And
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
Is a hot dog a sandwich? So it's posed in the form of a question, and it kind of addresses some of that. Well, like, didn't you create that about the time that the whole "What is a woman?" question was memified?
This was I want to say like 2-3 years ago that I made this. We should put a link to the video. It's a good video. I stand.
I
by
agree.
a lot of it.
For your benefit, I will.
And
put
I
a link
also
to the
make
video.
fun of Josiah in it because he had there's a little aside where I make fun of Josiah's names because that's an ongoing bit that we have. Is he used to go by Rubenate forever ago, but it didn't make sense because the 1 you're supposed to pronounce is the letter it represents, but the 8 you're supposed to pronounce it doesn't.
You
matter.
were the one who
I
fucked
make
that
fun
up
of his
for me.
name.
You were the one.
No,
who
I know.
That
I
up
kept
for me.
calling
Yeah.
him. I kept calling Rum 1 and an 8, and then that started. Other people started calling you that, and then you had to pivot because you're like, this is a stupid name.
It
so
is.
I make fun of his name in that video too. But yeah, the video is essentially it's a lot about categories. Like it's a I'm gonna be too, I don't know if I want to be too analytically
Well, no,
focused
and
here, but
again, because we got to be mindful of time, and this is the problem between us. Is you
yeah,
and I could keep yapping about this for 2 hours. But anyway,
yeah.
you have a video, you have a really good video essay which addresses much of this. So it's interesting how 3 years later, you're
Mhm.
still able. I don't want to say to double dip, but you're still drawing on a lot of the things that were
Yeah.
created in that video in
Well,
this debate with
yeah,
Charlie.
and I mean, I'm currently writing my capstone on philosophy of language of, categories, because I find that very interesting, and
Mhm.
I make videos very constantly about that. So
Did
this
he ever
question,
end
what
up
is a woman?
asking? Did he ever end up asking what a woman
No,
is?
we didn't get to it.
Okay,
No. I mean, we were only a minute into our conversation, I want to say.
so
We weren't very long.
they previewed. You had to preview your question with like
Mhm.
his people in the line.
Yeah, Turning Point staff.
And then they put you up in the front, or what they
Yeah,
do?
they were like, at one point, one of the girls was like, "Oh, you're perfect," and then like pushed me to second. So I was second in line.
Okay, so then you step up to the microphone, and
Mhm.
again, I don't know. Obviously, which again we'll get to. So much of the footage of the shooting itself, the actual shot, was dispersed all over the internet. Incredibly traumatic, incredibly ugly, incredibly visceral. I don't know how much footage has been released of you starting to talk to him,
Yeah. Yeah,
and
that's
basically
true.
the preceding 60 seconds. So walk me through it. You step up to the mic.
Yeah,
What happened?
I've actually got that video, because I mean, my wife was standing 20, 30 feet away recording me for a TikTok video that I was going to put out later about the conversation. But yeah, I basically talked about the DOJ decision, and I said, "Do you stand by this?" And he said, "Yes, like I absolutely stand by that." And I said, "Do you know how many trans shooters there have been?" He said, "Too many." And I said, "Okay, well, there have been about 4 or 5. Do you know how many shootings in America there have been over the last 10 years?" And then he said, "Counting or not counting gang violence," and then got shot.
So I'm curious. I remember that day so well because um, I was actually not able to do any sort of content initially because I was getting the studio here soundproofed. And so I was downstairs while the guy was, hanging all this shit meticulously. And my phone goes off, like a bunch of text messages. I remember Hutch was like, fuck. And so
Mhm.
I pulled up Twitter and pictures were everywhere. And, Charlie Kirk was shot, Charlie Kirk was shot. And I clicked on what I thought was a picture. It was one of the close up videos. Awful. It's
Mhm.
traumatic. And I can't remember. I think you, because we not only have a text thread, but we're in a group thread with some other people, and you texted or
Mhm.
said something, and I was actually trying to pay the contractor at the time while also keeping track of the news. So I kept getting texts from you that I was swiping up.
Yeah,
I'm like, Hunter,
just to
shut the
be
fuck up. Shut,
just to be
Yeah.
and also just to be clear to the audience, the news, I think, took a little bit to catch on. So this was like hours after it actually happened. Like I wasn't just like, let me text Josiah first thing.
I like to think that in an emergency, that would be your first
Yeah.
instinct, right? Like, you know
Yeah.
what? But we'll get to what because I know I'm curious, and I know everyone else is going to be curious, like what happened in the moment. But just from the
Mhm.
outsider's perspective, when I finally went back and looked at the text, as soon as I got done paying the contractor, I saw, and I think I even said something like, "Wait, Hunter, are you there?" And you were like, "I'm the guy he was talking to." And I remember dropping the phone because it was
Mhm.
stunning. Like, and because of course I had no idea. Obviously, I know you live in Utah, so
Mhm.
but it just never occurred to me.
Right.
Walk me through what happened to the extent that you even remember it. Do you even remember it?
Yeah, no, very, 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 very viscerally. I mean, it's not just that it was a very harrowing experience, but it's also that I revisit it so often over the last month and a half that like I do think that I've got like I know pretty much every detail. But yeah, what are you interested in
Well, I
knowing?
mean, was there? Because I think in the video, you put your hand to your face and whatever. I
Hmm.
mean, was it shock? Was it pure terror? I mean, I've never been in a situation like that, and hopefully, I never will be. You mentioned that your wife, good friend of mine
Hmm.
as well, in attendance with you. What the hell went through your mind?
Yeah. I mean, the first thing it was kind of interesting because a friend of mine was talking about people who just go to UV, because I go to the school. It's not just like I was visiting there. Um, a lot. It's a very different experience from the people in the school and my experience, because mine was, this is a political assassination, and darkly as dark as this might sound, like I don't know if I ever really felt like I was in danger, because I was like, okay, well, if there's a shooter who's trying to kill conservatives, I'm maybe the safest person on campus. But it was still compounded with also the harrowing thing that I just saw in front of me. So I dropped to the ground. There was a whole bunch of people in line next to me that I've been talking to for like an hour and a half at this point. So um, we all drop to the ground. We look at each other. We all make sure we're okay. The guy behind me was very kind and like walked with me, made sure I was okay. I made sure he was okay. Um, um, he still got my hat, by the way. They were passing out MAGA hats, and I grabbed onto one, but I didn't want to wear it to the question. So I had him hold on to it, and then the shooting happened. So I never got that back. So I need I need that MAGA hat back. Um, but the yeah, we dispersed. And then the problem was, my wife was recording the conversation, but she was using my phone because my phone's better. I bought like a better phone for like recording content and things like that, but I put it
Wow,
on do not.
so you gave your wife a hand-me-down phone. Jesus, man.
No, she gave me, yeah, no. I got the nice phone. She kept the hand me down phone.
I see.
And I go,
I'm gonna
okay,
have
for
to
right now you can use it.
I'm gonna have
But
to have
only
a talk
right now.
with
You
her.
better give it
God,
back.
you're such a misogynist, man. You're so terrible. No,
So-
I'm sorry. Go.
so
And again,
I
I
put it
I
on-
should say to everybody too, this is one of the things that he and I bond over is we have a very wide sense of humor. It's a coping mechanism for us both, so we'll crack jokes and stuff like that. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, I put it on do not disturb because I didn't want like a phone call to go through while I was recording it. And then as soon as it happened, I kept calling her like 5 or 6 times and she didn't pick up, and it was pretty upsetting. And I remember at one point I was looking for it, and I went back to like near the crime scene, and then like a police officer was standing there. I'm like, I don't know where my wife is. And he goes, "This isn't about you, buddy." And I'm like, you know what? Fair. Like, fair enough. Actually, that's so I walked back, and we eventually reconnected, but it took like 20 minutes or so to like find ourselves in the crowd.
It's fascinating to me that you had the discernment of mind in the moment to recognize that it wasn't like a mass shooting. It was
Yeah,
precise. It was targeted. You know, that you were almost able to do the math, pun intended. Like, okay, even though I'm standing here in front of him, he was clearly the target. I'm presumably not. It's not like it was indiscriminate. But when you couldn't find your wife, like, I mean, what were you just terrified the whole time? Or you're like, no, like I'm shocked, but like I'm not
Yeah,
in danger, and neither is she.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that I've been talking a lot. UVU gave me quite a bit of free therapy, so shout out to UVU. But I recently talked about this with my therapist. There was this quote that I love that Hank Green talked about. I don't know if you guys know Hank Green, but he's like a YouTuber. And he got cancer maybe about a year or two ago. And he talked about the initial shock of getting that cancer, and the first realization that he had was like, I'm still me. You know, he looked down at himself and he's like, you would think that this would just overtake me and I wouldn't be able to I would be able to not be myself. But yeah, like during that incident, I don't think I think I was still cogent enough to know what was happening. And I think I was freaked out to find my wife, but also like I did know in the back of my head, like that's not like, well, I'll find her. Like she'll be okay and I'll be okay. And this is for sure going to be an incident that we're going to remember for the rest of our lives, but we're going to be okay.
Talk to me a bit about the aftermath of it. I mean, I know everyone was checking in on you.
Yeah.
I
Well,
was
I
everybody.
called you for like half an hour that day or so. I don't remember how long it was, but yeah, you were one of the people I called that day.
I remember you saying it was the most important phone call you made of the day. I think that was your exact phrase.
And then you're like, "Can I do an interview right now?" And I ignored you for 6 weeks.
No, well, that's not fair. I texted you first and said, "Okay, do you want the interview? We can do it here. Do you want to say anything on the record?" You kept saying no comment. Speak to my agent. But no, in all seriousness, because I remember like you I kept checking in with the misses on this just to see how you were
Yeah.
doing. Like, I know this fucked you up, and I'm curious. Like, talk to me about the aftermath just over
Yeah,
the
I
past,
mean
because it's been 6 weeks. Like, I
yeah,
can't imagine.
the biggest thing by far is the conspiracy theorists. Like they have been incessant, and like there was for sure like the first 2 weeks of dealing with police and dealing with the FBI, and that was very scary to deal with. They were very professional, and I really like. Honestly, as soon as the interviews started happening, I recognized immediately that they didn't treat me like a suspect, like I wasn't Mirandaized or anything. But um, the, I mean, just like I had to get an attorney because I wasn't sure if I was going to be a
Wow.
suspect or something. And my attorney was kind of freaking me out. He's like, "Here's all the possibilities. Like here's what we got to worry about. I'm gonna make an interview with the FBI to make sure that we were able to put forward." That was scary,
Well, I
but
didn't
I
know. Are
think
you like, are you conducting this interview from Guantanamo right now, or are you in a cell somewhere?
no,
Yeah.
no one reached out to me. I talked to campus police maybe 20 half an hour after it happened. They took some notes. I'm like, I was that person. Here's my information. Ask me anything that you need. And they're like, we'll get back to you. And then we sent Shelby sent my wife sent me sent campus police all the videos. And then I was like, I think I need to talk to the FBI because the governor got asked a question maybe the next day saying, and one of the interviewers was like, "What about that guy who was asking the question? Has he been apprehended yet?" And the governor was like, "We don't know who that is." And I'm like, "I'll tell you. It was me. I will tell you right away." So I was like, I got to find an attorney. I got to go to the FBI. Apparently that information got lost. I don't know what happened to it, but like I already talked to people, but I guess I need to talk to more people. So my attorney reached out to the FBI, and then we did like a 20-minute interview, and it was a lot. Like they didn't pull me; it was just like a video conference. But that was all happening while my daughter was in the NICU. So like I literally was in the hospital asking questions, and then my attorney's like, "The FBI, we're like setting up an appointment right now. It's happening in like 20 minutes." I was like, "Fuck, dude!" And I did it in the parking lot of the hospital. Very stressful time. Very stressful time.
Yeah, I mean, man, you had a lot going on, period, at that
Yeah.
time. There's no doubt about it. And then obviously this happens. Did you get, did you hear from or speak to, like, people are going to wonder, like Cash Patel, given how close he was, the FBI
No.
director, he was close with Charlie Kirk, Governor
No.
Cox, nothing like that. It was treated pretty professionally at the lower level.
Yeah, the FBI essentially wanted to know where I was located right before the incident and then right after. But they already had access to all the cameras at the school, so they could verify all my answers. But yeah,
Did You said the conspiracy theories afterwards, because obviously you're a liberal,
those have
you're
been a
debating
lot.
Charlie Kirk, you're
Yeah,
asking a question about gun violence. Have there been threats?
yeah, for sure. I mean, like it's hard to take the. There's kind of two parts of it. The first is just like people in my comment section saying, "I know you did it. I'm going to turn you into the FBI or whatever." And I'm like, that's fine. Like, I don't care about that. Like, yeah, I've already been talking to the FBI. I've been cooperating with them more than you have. So, like, that means nothing to me. But the second part is like, I don't know how, honestly, they even found my house. But, like, um, I mean, reporters found my house initially.
Oh,
Like, the New York
oh
Times went,
Jesus. Okay.
no, 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 but
That's
like,
still
kind
bad.
of. No, 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 but like the New York Times knocked on my door like 2 hours after the incident occurred. No, maybe not that quick. Very quick that day for sure. Um, and I was freaked out that they like had my address and like knew my name, and like that was just like available information that I don't know how they found.
That's because I
And there
texted
was
them.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But they were
Yeah.
like, I would like I mean, I got approached like there were like 20 knocks on my door from reporters, and like one time there was a weird, I don't know. I don't want to say he was like there to like find out what was going on, but like he really didn't act like a reporter, and like I was like, "Who are like what are you doing here?" And I kind of like scared him off, and I was like, "What the fuck is that guy doing?" Anyway, um so that really freaked me out. Like that I'm I'm just like not one to be paranoid or anxious, and that for the next week, I was like, let's barricade the doors. We gotta like, I don't know, really freaked
You've
me
actually
out.
not left the house in 6
Yeah,
weeks.
exactly.
You don't know what the
Yeah,
outside is like. I
yeah.
I mean, dude, I can't imagine. I am curious. You're still putting out content. You're raising kids. You're married. You have a multifaceted life with all sorts of like competing
Mhm,
demands. In terms of your political advocacy, your political commentary, your political content, was there
mhm.
ever a moment where you're like, "Fuck this, I'm out. I'm just gonna go live a normie
Yeah,
life"?
well, I only recently started making videos again, like 2 days ago, I wanna say. Um, I felt like because I had made a video, like, I made a video genuinely like, "Here's the problem with what Charlie's saying. I'm gonna go on campus to talk to him." And also, I said in that video, "Do you hate Charlie Kirk? I know I do." Like, I said that. And that hit probably like 500,000 views on TikTok, like before the event occurred. So like I knew as soon as this happened, I can't hide from this because a narrative will quickly be spun around this. So even though I was pretty unwilling, or like I kind of wanted to process this with my family, but I kind of knew that I needed to make statements and do interviews and make content. But like after it was necessary, like after like 4 or 5 days, I kind of just need to process this all and sit back, focus on my family, focus on school. And like, yeah, school goes on. And like it's weird after an event like this. Um, yeah.
Yeah, again, I can't imagine. As you know, obviously, I say this as your friend, but also as somebody who respects your work. I think it's good that you've stayed in the space. I think the space is
Hmm.
made better by your content because you have a unique perspective on it. You bring a level of geekery that the rest of us, who are obviously jocks by comparison, you give a
You think
level
you're
of
not a nerd?
you give a level of geek credibility
Just
that
wait till this guy starts ranting about Star Wars.
we'll get to that. Okay, we're going in order of most important topics. We will obviously have to conclude with Star Wars, but I am glad that you have persisted in this and
Hmm.
you continue to put out content because again, it's a unique level of content. We'll link to Hunter's YouTube channel and everything, and probably his TikTok as well. I mean, it's just definitely worth your time. As far as the Charlie Kirk of it all,
Hmm.
I'm curious what you feel about this. My position on this has been from the beginning. Um, Again, I think what happened was really traumatic. Like it was viscerally like it. I wasn't there. It impacted me a
Hmm.
fraction to the extent it impacted you, and it impacted me quite a bit. I condemn political violence against Charlie Kirk against anybody. I think it has put everybody who engages in political commentary on the left and the right in danger. I think in a
Hmm.
constitutional democratic republic, you have all sorts of means to express your displeasure with somebody, but violence is not one of them.
Hmm.
And yet I refuse to sanitize or launder what he stood for. I
Yeah.
think that, I have friends who are and family members who really love Charlie Kirk and respect him, but personally, I think he was a hypocrite. I don't think he was as principled as he said he was. I think that a lot of his advocacy did a lot of damage to this country. I think these two things can simultaneously exist, that
Yeah.
you can condemn violence against this person and not whitewash them. Where do you fall on it? Where do you fall on it
Yeah.
now? Having had been literally so close, you were the last person on earth he talked to. How do you feel about
Yeah.
this?
I mean, it's a hard question, and it's a strange amount of responsibility that I feel because on the one hand, I need to decry what occurred, not just because it's awful, but also because copycats occur. Like I think as a community need to get together and say this is unacceptable. Um, I also do respect Charlie for a very few amount of things. The first is his political organization skills were top notch. He organized the Republican Party and the media landscape to warp around the Republican Party in a way that the left has not been able to replicate ever. So I do respect him for that, and in a lot of ways, that's something that I really cared about is aligning ourselves more politically and not just lambasting every left wing politician that we might not like. Because Charlie, look, he also believed in the marketplace of ideas, and I do think that that's maybe a bit of a flawed idea, but on its whole, I think that conversation and debate are endlessly important, and that's the only way in a democracy that we can ever change anything is by changing other people's ideas and changing other people's minds and talking about them and understanding them and empathizing with them. And that's something that I've made content for about a long time. I live in Utah and I talk a lot about how to have conversations with conservatives. Um, but on the other hand, I went to Charlie because he was advocating for stripping a constitutional right away from a displaced minority, a disenfranchised minority. And that I have to hold those two together. And that's difficult. Like, I understand that's difficult. And some people aren't able to do it. And that's frustrating that they're not able to do that. Um, but I think we need to be better. I think we need to recognize that I don't know if I want to call him a hero. I don't know if I want to call him someone that I he's still a person, I guess, is something that I've said a bunch of times. Is, that's a and as hard as that was for me, very often what I've needed to do over the last month is recognize that he had a family, who cared about him, who were impacted far heavier than I will be. Like, regardless of how close I was to Charlie, emotionally, his children were far closer to him and also will be impacted much greater, and also don't have the mental capabilities to understand or comprehend or be able to handle what happened, nearly as well as I can. And my heart goes out to those kids. And I didn't even know he had kids. I found, but that was the first thing. That was the first thing I looked up. Is I went into the car, like, the cars were packed around because the entire university, it was the middle of the day on a Wednesday, like, the entire university flooded out and we were just jam packed in cars and I wasn't driving. And, like, that was the first thing I looked up, is like, what's his family like? And he's got two kids. And that really said a lot to me. I mean, I have two kids, and in a lot of ways, I'm nothing like Charlie, but damn, I'm a political advocate. I care about policy. I care about debate. I care about conversation. And in some ways, we're very similar.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, there are some like even just superficially similarities. You guys
Mm-hmm.
were similar height, married
Mm-hmm.
with two kids. You both didn't want Hillary Clinton to win the 2016 election. You're both obviously interested in politics. You clearly preferred Trump to win in 2016 compared to anybody else.
Nice.
But no, look, man, I can't imagine having gone through what you went through, and I think it's
Mhm.
incredibly important that you continue to stay in the space as you have, to continue to endure and make your voice known, because you just genuinely have a unique voice in the space. And I'm looking forward to see what comes of you in the future with respect to your commentary. And speaking of, is there anything that people can expect? Are you working on something? Because you're an ideas guy. You got
Um,
concepts. Like
a
what's
lot of
yeah.
I mean, I've scrapped a lot of ideas over the last month and really had to whatever. I just got back to making videos. So if you follow me on TikTok, I'm finally talking about linguistics again, which is my heart and soul, my love of the game. Is in is in there.
I'm
But
sorry,
it's politically
linguistics?
oriented.
Oh,
I talk about fallacies, I talk about logic, I talk about debate, and the way to communicate with other people, and how language can be analyzed in that method. And I break it down in a more friendly way than I think Josiah is putting it here. I don't think I'm a professor lecturing at Harvard. Like,
no,
I
you are always entertaining. You write the best scripts. You got a great sense of humor. I definitely, people should check out your stuff. And then obviously we need to close on the most important question, which is,
God damn it. Rise of
over the
Skywalker, of
past
course it
6
is.
weeks, have you been given cause to revisit your opinion on the best of the Star Wars sequels, The Rise of
Do
Skywalker?
you do this often? Because I watch a decent amount of your videos and you don't yap about how god awful Rise of Skywalker is ever. Do you guys know his opinion? He thinks Rise of Skywalker is the best of the sequels and like a top 5 Star Wars movie. Look at this man
Okay,
and
I'm trying to think. I
hold
don't
on.
know if it's. I'm just trying
I
to
think it's
think.
fifth.
I think it's so.
I think you think it's better than 1 and 2.
There's Empire, A New Hope, Revenge of the Sith.
Mhm.
It is top
That's
5
fucked.
actually.
That's so fucked.
It is top 5.
That's so gross.
Why? No, listen to me. Okay.
It's literally the worst. It's literally
No.
bottom, and it's
We
not
talked
even
about this.
comparable.
You
Wait, hold on,
conceded.
hold on,
You
hold on.
conceded The
Hold on,
Force
hold on.
Awakens was the worst because it was.
I've conceded that 7th is much worse. You convinced me that it's basically trash, and I agree with that. But also, it's like, you know that scene in Shark Tale where it's like there's whale poop and then there's you. There's Force Awakens and then there's Rise of Skywalker. Like
I've not seen Shark Tale because I'm not a 10-year-old child. I've not seen this. I'm sorry.
I was 10 years old when I watched it. That's a.
I don't think so. I think your wife texted me and said you were watching it 2 days ago. And no,
I watched it with my kids.
No, fuck you. I preempted that. You weren't with the kids. No, listen to me. All I will say is this. Two words. Ian McDermott.
Exactly.
Ian McDermott.
It's so exhausting.
Did Rise of Skywalker?
Because you only have one argument. It's like the least unfunny. It's like MacGuffin after MacGuffin. It's ham-fisted. And the comedy is the worst in any Star Wars movie. But
if I had a dagger, if I had like the Sith dagger that Ochi had when they were trying to find remember the sextant thing came out?
Are you talking about the Wayfinder thing?
The Wayfinder thing, right?
Yeah.
If I had one, it would be.
I know this movie better than you.
It would be used to detect assholes, and it would always point at you. I would pull it out, and it would always be pointing.
My Star Wars hot take. Phantom Menace is a top 5 Star Wars movie. That movie is so good. It's also like political. Like there's like the trade federations and the way that Naboo functions as like a pseudo democracy, but also like a strange monarchy, and the way that it interacts with like Newt Gunray and the rest of the Federation. Low-key very interesting.
Yeah, but
just a solid movie. Like pod racing isn't that bad.
The problem is they overcomplicated it, because what they should have done is they should have made it, where Supreme Chancellor Palpatine goes, I'm going to tariff the Trade Federation. 45%. 45%. The Jedi.
Would that be easier for your pea brain? You go, oh, that's the bad guy.
No, what's sad is it is amazing to look at American politics and recognize that all the great villains of fiction were just going about seizing power way too convolutedly. I mean, I do think something that fiction has really made me, like, I've had to reanalyze fiction and recognize that the villains should often be way dumber than they often are. Yes. Yes. And then they can lead the Republican Party to 2 terms.
It's like,
God, I mean, what's the point?
Like the idea that like it's a really solid scene in like Django Unchained. It's a really solid scene in Django Unchained. I actually haven't seen it. I've just seen an analysis on TikTok.
You've not seen. You're too busy watching. Sorry, how could you fit that in between reruns of Shark Tale and the Phantom Menace to watch Django Unchained? Oh my God!
It's like the racists are idiots. Like they're like putting on the like KKK hoods, and like they can't figure out what's there. Like having the dumbest monologue. That's so fascinating to me. Is like, no, racists are idiots. Like the idea that like this is the way that we should separate the world, and like how do you even determine what race is what? It's like, it is funny how stupid they are. That's what the Trump administration really.
It really is. I didn't put it that. They didn't think about it that way. They're like the amassed KKK at the beginning of Django Unchained, except they have the nuclear football. Okay, very last question. 2028.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Are you planning on voting for Jill Stein again?
She's gonna crawl out of the woodwork like she always does.
Dude, she does.
Like,
she hibernates. She hibernates.
Yeah, no, she's a fucking groundhog. If she pokes her head up, if she sees her shadow, it's 4 more years of Trump.
I don't think she's gonna poke her head out, because Mehdi Hassan will be ready to do another interview. But did you ever watch that interview? He did, like, that was
so good. Yeah. She's a fraudster for sure. Like, what her whole grift is, vote for me. I don't know why either. Like,
just vote. Actually, her thing is vote for me. It's like an upward inflection with a question mark again. Vote for me. Look, Hunter, I could remember when this was only supposed to be 15 minutes. Do you remember this? I'm just gonna drop it on the channel. Totally.
I have school, by the way. Like, I have a class going on right now. I'm getting my test back. I got to know how.
You were playing Sudoku the entire time of this fucking interview. During asshole. I saw your eyes cut. Yeah. You were like,
interesting.
You were like, let me tell you about the trauma that I
And it's not
suffered.
normal Sudoku, by the way. Okay, we do Killer, we do Renban,
Would you
we
say it's like
do
Count
German
Sudoku?
Whisper.
That was a Count Dooku pun. I tried to bring it back to Star
Kind of
Wars.
bad, not really
Okay,
that good.
all right. Listen, again, where can people find you?
TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter,
At Staxioms.
at Staxioms.
Thank you for just pointing out the platforms, but not actually like, yeah, you can find me on planet Earth, like
just go wander on Twitter.
Just
like your followers are like, I'll find him eventually.
Just like refresh the page. Yeah, I'm on
That's
YouTube.
Good.
Thank you.
That's good.
You're nailing it, man.
The 20th Mr. Beast video. It's like, I'll find this guy sometime.
You're nailing it, man. All right, buddy. Well, listen, I appreciate you. And again, please be sure to check out Hunter and we'll include all his links and everything. But thank you so much, buddy. And I'm sure we'll be talking again.
Absolutely. Soon. I appreciate you, Josiah.